My son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth, thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself, when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. The first 5 verses find their mate in the New Testament in Matthew chapter 5 verse 25, with illustrations in Philippians chapter 1 verse 28, 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8, and Luke chapter 12 verse 58. Paul offers himself surety for Onesimus, Philemon 19, and Judah offers himself surety for Benjamin, Genesis chapter 44. Job 17 refers to the practice, and it's evidently a bargain or agreement that is reached by a handshake or a clapping of the hands together. Leviticus chapter 6 verse 2, see Isaiah chapter 38 verse 14, Job chapter 17 verse 3, and Proverbs chapter 22 verse 26. The meaning is that here you have underwritten, gone bail, signed a note, etc. A friend of yours who owes someone some money, and the friend is only a passing acquaintance. Verse 1. You had better go to your friend and make sure that he is really your friend. Verse 3. For all he has to do is back out of the bargain and leave you holding the bag. Verse 5. The Septuaginta hams the passage as usual and inserts a meaningless and unnecessary homely in verse 2. A strong net to a man are his own words. Again in verse 3, the Septuagint translates, Do therefore, my son, what I bid thee, for do this not now. The man whose life or property is surety shouldn't sleep until he is certain that the so-called friend will keep his word to the creditor and pay his bill. See chapter 20 verse 16 and chapter 16 verse 15. Chapter 6 verses 6 to 11. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provided her meat in the summer, and gathered her food in the harvest. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. Skeptics of the 21st century insisted that ants don't provide their meat in the summer. Verse 8. But it turned out that in Oriental countries they do. But the Bible believer would have known this scientific fact to be true before any scientist found it out. The passage is quite plain. Our word slug is from the sluggard of verse 6. The modern expression is get the lead out of your breeches. The sluggard sleeps and slumbers when he should be working, so God has put the ants before him. Job chapter 12 verse 7 as an object lesson in industry. The ants are engineers, slaveholders, stockkeepers, farmers, and construction men without the straw boss, overseer, bull of the woods, etc., to run them. They each work according to their ability. They work harmoniously, preserve in the face of danger, and provide for the future. Army ants have been known to cross deep rivers by wading up in a ball and rolling into the current. O Darwin, where are you? Aesop's fable of the ant and the grasshopper is almost as immortal as the words of Solomon, but of course not as inspired. Thy poverty come as one that travaileth, verse 11, is plainly a reference to the highwayman. Notice, and thy want as an armed man, verse 11. The picture is that of weary traveler lying down beside the road to sleep at night instead of pressing on to the inn. The robber, who has been following him all afternoon, is now able to sneak up and steal the traveler's defense. The Septuagint with the Vulgate of Jerome cannot resist adding 19 to 23 extra words which are neither inspired nor intelligent. In verse 11 they have added, "But if thou art diligent, the harvest shall come as a fountain." Nonsense. "And want shall flee far from thee." And further, as a bad runner. The insipid innovation by the Alexandrian scribes is quite typical of the kind of material which the ASV and the Amplified Version used for so-called Bible manuscripts. A naughty person, a wicked man, walked with a froward mouth. He winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers. Frowardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually, he soweth discord. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly, suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. Here we have a detailed description of the man of sin, Revelation chapter 13, exactly as we have one written by David in Psalm chapter 52. The reader will note the chapter 6 verse 13 and the 52, Psalm 52, which is 4 times 13. The Antichrist is described as naughty and as one who devised mischief. Both of the words have suffered degeneration since 1611, and the phenomenon is quite common. Men tend to tone down bad words and give them good application, while they tend to low-rate good words till they have evil meanings. This in itself is very good evidence that Darwin's theory of mankind was wrong. The wicked man of verses 12 to 15 winks, walks, speaks, teaches, devises, and sows. When he is broken without remedy. Verse 15 compared chapter 29 verse 1. He speaks deceit, frowardness, because deceit is in his heart. Verse 14, and he utilizes hands, feet, and eyes in teaching. The fingers, of course, are raised with the forefinger and index finger up. This is Churchill's sign, Nimrod's sign, the papal blessing, the salute of the Swiss Vatican Guard, the signal for a jigger of whiskey, the beatnik and hippie signal for love, rabbit ears. The man sowing is greedy, selfish, and heedless, and his harvest is painful, injurious, and sudden. The seed he sows is misinterpretation, flattery, gossip, false doctrine, and political chicanery, and the soil is the hearts of Bible-rejecting Catholics, Jews, and Protestants. His calamity, verse 15, is set forth vividly in Revelation chapter 19, verse 20, and there are numerous references to it in the Old Testament. Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, Psalm chapter 68, verse 21, Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 13, Psalm chapter 110, verse 5, etc. These 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, an heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. Since we are in chapter 6, it's not surprising to find verse 13 and verse 18, 3 times 6, dealing with the man of sin. These 6 things, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. Verse 16. The reader can observe that the Antichrist ways are found in Psalm chapter 36, 6 times 6, with 6 items listed. Practically speaking, people are an abomination to the Lord as well as things. Note verse 19, a false witness, he that soweth discord. The day school children's story of God loving the sinner but hating the sin belongs just there. In day school, not in the theological library of truth. Notice in particular Malachi chapter 1 verse 3, Romans chapter 9 verse 13, and Isaiah chapter 41 verse 24. Verse 17, a proud look. For men, this is the Prussian military bearing, or the haughty gaze of the courtier or prince. These looks will be humbled according to Isaiah chapter 2 verse 11. For women, it's the look of the movie queen or socialite, which will be altered somewhat by the coming stink, burning, sackcloth, and baldness. Isaiah chapter 3 verses 24 and 25. Not many bald-headed burning women who stink are able to pose like the Queen of May. And verse 17, a lying tongue. This is the only item mentioned twice. Note verse 19. This clearly amplifies John chapter 8 verse 44 and reminds us of the fact that the primary doctrinal reference is to the man of sin. And then verse 18, an heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. You can see comments under Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23. And again verse 18, feet that be swift in running to mischief. Romans chapter 3 verse 15 will neatly match it, since the shedding of blood has already been mentioned in our context. Verse 17. The application is much too obvious to allow a 21st century reader to accept it. For campus riots, civil rights demonstrations, protest rallies, and the like are plainly hours wasted in destruction of private and public property. Feet that can't wait to run and tell a juicy piece of gossip are also indicated in the text. Many gang members who want to show them how good they can be in some gang or some other mischievous group can be swift in this kind of matters. Verse 19, and he that soweth discord among brethren. This would include deacons' wives who are ambitious for their husbands to get re-elected, bullying heretics who are anxious to destroy all organized forms of the local church, idle women in a congregation who resent other women teaching, old bellwethers who resent new members getting into responsible positions, and Bible revisers separating the body of Christ by handing them 37 different versions, each written with a particular doctrinal prejudice in mind. It excludes faithful Bible preachers who split churches by pointing out sin, faithful Bible teachers who point out the dangers of alliances with church-state systems like Roman Catholicism, and faithful evangelists who draw a clear line between the saved, real brethren and the lost, false brethren. Paul didn't sow discord. He tore down all to pieces. My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. Verse 20 has been commented on under Proverbs chapter 4, verses 3 and 4. Verse 21 has been commented on under chapter 3, verse 22 and chapter 4 verse 9. When verses 20 and 21 are obeyed, then three promises follow. The commandment or law, when kept, will first lead the Old Testament saint in his lifetime. Psalm chapter 23 verse 3, 31 verse 3 and 43 verse 3, 130 verse 10. Second, keep him when he lies down. Psalm chapter 3 verse 5. Third, instruct him through the voice of his conscience and heart. Romans chapter 2 verses 1 to 13. When he is going about the daily task of life. Song of Solomon chapter 2 verse 10, Isaiah chapter 8 verse 11, chapter 29 verse 18 and chapter 66 verse 4. The commandment is a lamp, verse 23. Therefore, it can lead the saint in his lifetime, verse 22. And the law is light, verse 23. Therefore, while he is asleep, verse 22. He doesn't dwell in darkness, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life, verse 23. Therefore God will speak through the law and the commandments to the saint as he lives from day to day, verse 22. David remarks on the lamp and the light in Psalm chapter 119, verse 105, and calls it by thy word, indicating that a spiritual application can be made to any saint in any age where the lamp and the light are needed. Note 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19.